Okay, if the police decide to come down on narcotics, prostitution, burglary, it means that they start to do their utmost, do as much as they can in order to restrict this particular crime or this particular sin, whatever it is. And so they're going to come down on that group. It means they're going to restrict the crimes which that group are committing, something like that. You know, you could come down on a group of people or you could come down on a crime, but all of them are exactly the same. They're synonymous, certainly. And the same for the next lot. We have hundreds of words for turning someone over to the authorities. That was another way of saying it in another phrasal verb video. You can also turn someone in, meaning take them to the police station or call the police and tell on them, grass on them, inform on them, rat on them, snitch on them. These sound particularly negative, rat on and snitch on. I don't think grass on sounds very positive either. Inform on sounds very formal, as it might sound. It sounds pretty formal, doesn't it? Inform on. And tell on is very often used for kids. I mean, when kids tell on their friends, they go to the teacher and say, he's not working, or he's being noisy, or he's playing with his phone in class. They are telling on their friend. Or maybe their enemy. So this is exactly the same, but it's usually used for children and not for adults. The other ones are used for adults. Now, these are all about movement, and we have a group of in on here, which I didn't do in the phrasal verbs within. I'm sorry about that, but you can't pack in all the phrasal verbs in one video. So if you close in on someone, or home in on someone, or zero in on someone, or move in on someone, they all mean approach very closely. Approach closely in a physical sense. So if you're having a car chase or in a race, you might say a horse race, yeah? The horse in second position closed in on the horse in first position. He zeroed in on the horse in first position. He homed in on the horse in first position. He bared down on the horse at the front. He was bearing down on the horse at the front, yeah? Bared down on? No, sorry, bore down on. Bear, bore, born. Bear is like bear a child, so the second form will be bore and the third form will be born. Sorry about that, little mistake. Everybody makes them. So if somebody is bearing down on you, they're approaching you. Usually they're chasing you when they're doing this. So all of these mean approach. Very often when you're chasing someone that you don't want to let escape, you close in on them, you home in on them. Very physical, these phrasal verbs. Next ones are all about understanding, fully understanding something. So if you cotton on to someone's evil plans, and here we go, it's cotton on to something, then you start to understand what they are. You start to understand what they're really planning to do. If you say he's a little bit slow, he'll never catch on, it means he'll never understand what we're up to, what we're doing. Yeah, if you are up to something nefarious, if you're up to something evil or not very nice, you're saying that he won't catch on, he won't understand what we're doing. And again, I think these are very often used in clandestine situations, or clandestine. I found out the other day the correct pronunciation is actually clandestine, according to Oxford. I've heard clandestine hundreds of times. But if there's a criminal out there and the detective is onto him, it means he understands what he's doing, and he's going to follow those leads. He's going to follow up on what that guy is doing, what that criminal is doing. And so if somebody is onto you, they understand what you're doing. Very often some kind of naughty plan that you have. If somebody doesn't latch on, it's the same as somebody doesn't catch on. They don't understand. So again, it's about understanding. However, I'm going to put a line here because there's a second meaning with latch on, and it just means to become attached. And here it's very similar to cling on. If somebody clings onto you, little children, my son very often clings onto my jumper. So this one's very physical, the last one, and it means he holds on to my jumper. He grasps my jumper. He holds it very tightly. And latch on can also mean that, you know, when something latches onto something else, it becomes attached to something else. However, all of those ones, except for cling on, not cling on, catch on, be on to, latch on and cotton on, all are about understanding. And I forgot to mention that catch on can also mean become popular. So a new trend or a new fashion can catch on, or you can say, that new hairstyle will never catch on, and it means it will never become popular. But all the rest of them, yeah, they all mean understand. These four, they all mean understand, certainly. To cotton on, to be on to latch on, to catch on. Now, I mentioned all of these in the last lesson, so I won't go on about them too much. I just want to remind you that go in on is like when you chip in some money, when you and your friends all chip in some money and you go in on a pizza. You all chip in £20, or maybe not that much, maybe you all chip in £5. But if you are in on an evil plan, that means you are part of some kind of clandestine plan. And if you let someone in on your secret, you let them in on your clandestine activity. If you walk in on someone, usually they are up to something, they are doing something naughty, and you suddenly surprise them. You just burst in on them when they're in that room. There's another one, burst in on someone. And I think I mentioned it last time as well. And if you listen in on someone's conversation, you're listening to their conversation, and so you're listening to something naughty or clandestine. And if you muscle in on someone's business, then you're trying to take over their market share. Now, if you pass on a message or you pass on an inheritance, you simply do what I'm sure many of you understand already. You give that message or you give that inheritance to that person. But pass on can also mean pass away, which is a euphemism for die. So if you want to offer your sincere condolences when somebody passes away, you probably use the word pass on and not die. Now, if you cheer someone on, you're on the side of the football, you're on the side of the football pitch and you're cheering on your child or you're cheering on your friend. You want them to win. If you egg someone on, you urge them to do something. You try to persuade them to do something. You urge them to do something. And if you say that something spurs you on, it motivates you. So I think all of these are quite similar because they're all about motivating you in some kind of way. So you might say, the extra money that I'm earning is spurring me on at work. Yeah, something like that. It's motivating you. If somebody cheats on their wife or cheats on their girlfriend, they're having an affair or they've got another girl on the side, we often say as well. So that one's clear, but I've put it on its own because I can't think of any others similar. There probably are though. If you try something on, you're trying on clothes, you're dressing, and if you put on your clothes, it's the opposite of take off, yeah, put on, take off. But if you put something on, you can also be pretending, which is similar to make out. So you might say, I might ask my kid if he's says that he's sick, especially the little boy, I might say, are you putting it on? Are you pretending? Are you really sick? Yeah, maybe you're just making out that you're sick, but you're not really sick. So put on could also mean pretend. If you happen upon something or stumble upon something, it means you suddenly come across something, run across something, run into something. Find by chance. Yeah, all of these would be find by chance. If you lead someone on, I'm sorry if I'm speaking too quickly, but I'm trying to pack in a lot of phrasal verbs in one lesson. But if you lead someone on, then you influence them. You try to put them up to something. You try to influence them in some kind of bad way. And so I think it's very similar to put someone up to something, lead someone on. Now, if you turn on the light, you just switch on the light. I hope there's enough light today. And if you turn someone on, you excite them sexually. The opposite would be turn someone off. And I did this in phrasal verbs with turn, so it's another, we're repeating, we're going through a lot of these phrasal verbs for the second time. Now, if you say that my parents frown on I don't know, maybe they frown on boxing. Maybe you enjoy boxing, but your parents frown on this sport. Then it's similar to they look down on this sport. They disrespect it. They don't like it. Frown is when you do that, yeah? When the lines come across your head because you're not happy about something. You frown when you're not pleased or not satisfied about something. And so if you frown on something, it means you don't like it for some kind of reason. It displeases you. Quite common again to frown on something. And I think similar to, well, not exactly the same, different nuances again, but it's similar to look down on something. So I've put it together. Okay, if you have any questions about these phrasal verbs, number one, look in a dictionary, check, look for examples. Oxford, Cambridge, Merriam-Webster. There are hundreds of dictionaries right there on the internet. Click, type, you'll find them. And you'll find loads of examples, better examples than I give. They're better because they're in the dictionary. But if there's some kind of question about these words, which is a subtle, a really good question, some kind of subtle nuance, please put them under the video and I'll do my best to answer all of them. I don't always have time and I'm sorry about that. Very often I'm planning the next phrasal verb lesson. I've got another one on coming. So if I don't answer, I'm really sorry. I would like to answer everybody, but it's simply that I just don't have the time to answer everybody's questions. But I assure you that I always answer questions in class. Okay, thanks for watching this video. I hope to see you all soon, and please like if you've enjoyed it.